Attention passionate Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Pittsburgh Steelers' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying close attention to the Steelers this season, you already know that it's been a roller coaster ride. Week 2 brought some surprises, some concerns, and definitely some questions about the roster, especially when it comes to the running back position. And right now, one name that's sparking a lot of discussion among Steelers fans and analysts alike is rookie running back Caleb Johnson. Yeah, he's just a rookie, but the questions surrounding his early season performance are starting to ripple through the fanbase. You see, Johnson's been thrown into the fire pretty quickly. The coaching staff, under Mike Tomlin's leadership, has experimented with him in different roles, sometimes on special teams, sometimes with limited touches on offense. But the reality is, he's only had 2 carries on offense so far this season. That's not enough to make a fair judgment on his potential, but it's enough to raise eyebrows, especially considering some of his struggles as a kick returner, where he's had a rough go so far. Naturally, this kind of early performance can make fans nervous, and that's understandable. But let's be clear here, this isn't a case of a bust or a lost cause. It's still too early in Johnson's NFL journey to write him off. What's clear is that Mike Tomlin has him in what some might call a doghouse at the moment. The head coach is known for his patience and ability to develop players over time, but in this case, it seems Johnson's getting a bit of a cold shoulder. The question now is, when might he get another shot? Will he be able to bounce back, or is this a sign that the Steelers are already looking at options elsewhere? Because, let's be honest, the running game has been a bit of a concern for Pittsburgh. The team has relied heavily on Jaleel Warren, who's been a bright spot, but one player can't carry the entire workload all season long. And this brings us to a very interesting point. Could a trade be in the cards? Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Making a trade mid-season, especially for a team like the Steelers, is a move that's carefully considered. But in this case, it might be exactly what they need to shake things up. The roster could definitely benefit from some reinforcements in the backfield, especially if Johnson remains sidelined or unproductive for an extended period. The Steelers don't have a pressing need to make a trade right now, but exploring the options out there wouldn't hurt. Because let's face it, the division is tough, and any edge they can get could be the difference between making a deep playoff run or falling short once again. Now, one potential target that's been floating around the rumor mill is Jaleel McLaughlin from the Denver Broncos. That's right. The Broncos have a running back who has been somewhat under the radar, but could be a valuable pickup for Pittsburgh. McLaughlin has found himself as a game day inactive quite a bit this season, which is baffling considering what he's produced in limited touches. In the past 2 years, he's only started 8 games, but he's managed to rack up over 900 rushing yards and has scored 2 touchdowns. That's respectable production for a player who's often been a backup or a rotational guy. It's worth noting that McLaughlin, despite his limited role, has shown flashes of potential. He's not the all-around back that some might dream of, but he's got the kind of explosiveness and vision that could fit well with Pittsburgh's offensive scheme. And being a former undrafted free agent from the 2023 NFL Draft, he's proven that he can fight his way onto an NFL roster and make an impact. If the Steelers are concerned about Johnson's development or his current status, trading for McLaughlin could be a low-cost, high-reward move. Plus, the Steelers have historically valued special teams play, and although McLaughlin hasn't made a huge impact there yet, he's shown he can contribute on special teams in previous stops. With some coaching and a fresh start, he might evolve into a versatile back who can handle a variety of roles. It's also worth mentioning that acquiring him wouldn't cost a ton. He's not a high-profile player, and the Broncos might be willing to part with him if it means getting some draft capital or filling other roster needs. So, what would a trade look like? Well, it's likely the Steelers could offer a mid-round pick or even a conditional pick that could turn into a higher-value selection if McLaughlin hits certain performance benchmarks. The key here is that Pittsburgh needs to act quickly. They're in a win-now window. The season is young, but the division is fierce, and relying solely on Warren isn't enough. The team needs depth, speed, and a player who can step in and contribute immediately, especially if Johnson continues to struggle or remains out of favor. Now, I want to emphasize that this isn't about abandoning Johnson or giving up on him completely. It's about making strategic moves to improve the roster for the short and long term. Johnson has potential, but sometimes, young players need a little time and a different environment to flourish. If the Steelers can bring in someone like McLaughlin, they get a guy who's shown he can produce in limited opportunities, and he's hungry to prove himself. That kind of motivation can be contagious and could help spark a more productive running game overall. The Steelers' offensive line has been doing a decent job, but they need more support from the backfield, especially in third-down situations and goal line scenarios. Adding a running back who can contribute on special teams and provide a spark on offense could be exactly what Pittsburgh needs to stay competitive in the AFC North. Remember, the division is stacked, with teams like Baltimore and Cincinnati fighting tooth and nail every week. Pittsburgh can't afford to fall behind because of a lack of depth or unproven players. And let's not forget the history here. Steelers have always been a team that values grit, perseverance, and strategic moves. Whether it's their draft picks, trades, or coaching adjustments, they tend to find ways to stay competitive. So a move for McLaughlin or even exploring other options out there makes sense given the current landscape of the team. The goal is clear: improve the roster, add depth, and keep that Super Bowl mindset alive. Of course, some fans might worry about disrupting the locker room or giving up draft capital. But in a season where every game counts, sometimes you have to make bold moves. The key is doing it smartly, targeting players who can step in immediately and contribute without breaking the bank. McLaughlin fits that mold perfectly. He's a player with something to prove, and the kind of guy who, if given the chance, could become a vital piece of the Steelers' puzzle. As the season progresses, all eyes will be on how Pittsburgh manages this running back situation. Will they stick with Johnson and hope he turns things around, or will they pull the trigger on a trade to strengthen their backfield? Given the urgency and the division's competitiveness, it's a move that could define their push for the postseason. The Steelers have always been about resilience and strategic thinking, and this season might be no different. They're looking for ways to stay ahead, and that includes making tough decisions in the backfield. So, Steelers fans, keep your eyes peeled. The team's front office isn't just sitting back and waiting for miracles. They're actively considering options, and players like Jaleel McLaughlin could very well be on their radar. The season is still young, but the stakes are high. Every game, every play, every move counts. And Pittsburgh, as always, is looking to do what it takes to stay in the hunt, to keep that Super Bowl dream alive. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. In conclusion, folks, the Steelers are at a crossroads with their running back situation. The struggles of Johnson, combined with the need for immediate help, could push the front office to make a bold move. Jaleel McLaughlin from Denver is a name to watch, a player who's been underutilized, but has shown flashes of talent that could be harnessed with the right system and coaching. For Steelers fans, this is an exciting time, potentially a pivotal moment that could shape the rest of the season and beyond. The team's focus remains on winning, on competing at the highest level, and on making strategic moves that keep them in the hunt for another Super Bowl appearance. And no matter what happens, one thing is for sure: Pittsburgh fans are passionate, resilient, and always ready to support their team through thick and thin. And now, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news.